AM side. A very good morning to you once again, and thank you so much for staying with us. This is the Eagles Morning Rise Breakfast Show, but this segment is where we talk politics and current affairs. So we target Eagles' outlook. Today on the program, we are not talking politics. We're not even looking at what's going on within Nigeria's security sector. We're looking at Nigeria's economy and the matters arising as we speak. It's just okay for us to, shift our focus a little bit from, this renewed security, issues in Nigeria. This morning, I have Adefolarin Olamilekan, an economic expert, joining me live via telephone to discuss the matters arising as far as Nigeria's economy is concerned. Adefolarin, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you, Miss. Good morning. If Daniel is there, good morning. And good morning to all our listeners out there, all across the city and surrounding area.
All right. It's just me in the studio this morning, by the way.
Oh, all right. That's good.
All right. So on the program today, dear listener, we are looking at declining inflation and the state of Nigeria's economy. I mean, a lot is going on, within the nation's economic, space as we speak. And even as we gear up for the Yuletide, and also the projections, for the end of the year, and also anticipating, what is most likely going to shape, economic activities in, the new year. But let's quickly take a listen to the background, of the conversation this morning. All right. Just on the 18th of this month, a couple of days back, we were made to understand that the inflation rate for the month of October actually dropped, and it is, it has been tagged. It is currently at 16.05%, and according to reports, it's actually a 3-year low, having it at 16.05%. Now, we've seen reactions and counter reactions from different stakeholders, industry experts. For example, the organized private sector, they've actually welcomed the decline in the rate of inflation in the country, but they've quickly pointed out that the hardship across the country has failed to abate. According to the latest consumer price index released by the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's inflation eased for the second consecutive month in October, as new base year adjustments are moderating food prices, helped pull a headline pressure lower. Now, the report stated that the headline inflation rate fell to 16.05% in October from 18.02% in September, and that actually marks a 1.96 percentage point moderation. The CPI reading, rose slightly to 128.9 points from 127.7 in September, and that indicates that prices are still increasing, but at a slower annual pace. Now, the current inflation rate of 16.05% is the lowest in 3 years and 8 months since 15.92% in March of 2022. So when you look at this very critically, if you must do a little bit of comparative analysis, on a year-on-year basis, inflation actually weakened sharply by 17.82 percentage points from the 33.88% recorded in October of last year. And this was largely due to the shift, to a new base year. Now, despite the respite in the annual figure, monthly inflation actually climbed. Month-on-month inflation accelerated to 0.93% in October from 0.72% in September, and that shows that price pressures at the household level remain sticky. Now, the organized private sector, now that's the OPS, they are saying that, the decline in inflation rate is a positive trend. It's a positive trend, but it is yet to really, how will I put it now? It is far different from the reality on the street. Just like Adefolarin would say, that whether or not the inflation is easing, what exactly are the masses experiencing? What are they saying when they go to the market to buy food stuff? What are they saying Is the decline in inflation rate, just as we've been made to understand in the news or as we've read, is it really, really in tandem with what is obtainable across markets, in the country? Adefolarin, for
Hello, I'm
starters,
here.
right, this administration had actually assured Nigerians that it would reduce inflation rate drastically. And I mean, from all indication, we're seeing that. Looking at the recent inflation figures, all right, 16.05. But I know over time that we've had reasons to discuss this. You would say that what we're hearing or seeing on paper is different from what is obtainable across markets. However, it appears the prices of things are actually easing or dropping, but it's not a general trend yet. But did this 16.05% inflation decline, did it come to you as a surprise? And what exactly would you pinpoint as the major drivers of this decline in inflation rate in Nigeria?
It's an interesting question, and I'll quickly answer them in this way. Almost, it's official that we have a 16.05 inflation in Nigeria for the month of October.
Right.
And also, it's also official. Are you with me?
Yes, please.
Official that we have a 16.05 inflation for the month of October, officially from the Nigerian authority for the month of October 2025. That's official. It's also official that we need to also acknowledge that in the last 8 months, between January and August, we have had a series of inflation dropping in Nigeria. And this is reflecting the rebasing, which you also highlighted in your introduction, in your background introduction, that the economy has been rebased. So because of that, the inflation figure has also been reworked to reflect the current economic productive reality of Nigeria. That's two. Then thirdly, we also need to realize that in recent times, the government are taking a drastic measure, particularly on the aspect of food price, to ensure that there is a pari passu food price on local food to reduce of food so that we can have access and affordable food across Nigeria. That is also has been established. Then fourthly, it has also been established that the government on their own have been able to synergize and to encourage farmers as well as traders in the food sector and other sectors of the Nigerian economy to understand the policy that they are pushing. And what is that policy? The policy is a trend that comes from the fallout of the initial two policies that the president implemented in 2023. And what are those two policies? Subsidy removal and integration of the FX system, whereby we now have the unified FX market that shows that official price and black market has not been reduced when it comes to the different prices of the exchange rate. And that also has been established. But the reality of all these policies that the government put in place, even the reality of the result they are getting at this point in time, cannot be compared to the loss, cannot be compared to the challenges that the key policies that the president introduced in 2023, the damages that it has done cannot be compared to it. And what do I mean by that? What has happened to the economy in just 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the result they are getting at this point in time cannot be compared to it. It's still far below of what the result that we need to get. It's far. Even though the inflation is coming down, they are able to import food, they are able to encourage farmers, they are able to tighten up security around farmers, they are able to ensure that they encourage manufacturer sector and everything. But the key answer still remains that the challenges that is on ground created by policy of the government initially has not been up with the solutions that is required to solve the problem. And that's where we are today. And that's why you see that if I may mention that the reality of what we are seeing in terms of the price mechanism in all our products or food items is far different from what we are seeing on paper. That is just the fact. Because I'll give you a typical example. If you go to the market today, let's say you go to Muse Market and a trader, initially they will complain to you that those high. That's why their price of goods is high. They will tell you that the price of the goods is high. They also tell you that insecurity is there. For right now, they don't mention those things to anybody anymore. Traders don't tell you that don't actually, they don't tell you that but what they are is to continue to enjoy the price mechanism that was established when those policies came into place. So nobody wants to go down below the profit he or she has been making initially. And that aspect of it, government cannot really solve that problem going forward.
Well, truly, it's gradually going into extinction. The excuse around dollar is high, and that's why things are quite, pricey at this point in time. The exchange rate, fuel issues, and all of that. However, Mr. Defolarin, what exactly do you think we must do right now to ensure that disinflation translates into real cost of living relief for Nigerians, whether or not the prices of foodstuff and other essentials, are reducing or declining or crashing on a daily basis? The purchasing power of the average Nigerian on the street has been eroded. So how do we translate disinflation into real cost of living, relief for Nigerians, especially at this time?
Interesting question you've asked again. But technically, you have to be very, very careful when people are talking about purchasing power. And I find it so amusing that people, when they want to provide solution to purchasing power being eroded, the thing they will tell you that increase salary of workers. But we should understand that in the purview of the government of the state, there has been a twin policy out of the current twin policy they established in 2023. They are controlling more cash inflow to the economy to also ensure that the inflation doesn't go sky. Then two, they are also ensuring that the policies they are putting in place, they are also mentioning aspects that will ensure that the policy doesn't go contrary to what they are thinking. And what is that? Most times now, like you rightly pointed out in your question, the president power is so yes, do some purchasing power. The only thing you can do to improve someone purchasing power that many people think of is that increasing salary. Increasing salary means that just to increase the flow of money in circulation. And when flow of money in circulation is too high, what does it reflect? It comes back and affects inflation because too much money, as economists will say, will be chasing few goods available. But on the other hand, what needs to be done is that in what government is afraid of. The government doesn't want to tamper with the market forces system that we have embraced in the economy. And what is that market forces? Free entry, free exit. You can come into the Nigerian economy today and start buying and selling at the price that you feel that you can buy and sell without government intervention. And that is what is happening. And go for that's why when people talk about let us work on our purchasing power, the only credible solution to get purchasing power to be right is for government to intervene in the economy by having a mechanism to control prices. But here in Nigeria, government doesn't have power to control prices. And that's why they rely on controlling the cash inflow. And cash inflow, they want to use it to control the prices, but at the end of the day, it affects the purchasing power of Nigerians. You can understand the dynamic of what I'm trying to paint.
Right.
We are a market forces economy. So in market forces economy, government doesn't have the absolute power to control prices because it is a capitalist system. But on the other hand, when you don't control prices, it affects and creates distortion in purchasing power. So in Nigerian case, what is creating this problem in the purchasing power is not because inflation is high, but because government doesn't want to tamper with market forces system that we are practicing. In other countries, the likes of US, likes of UK, their government comes strategically to control prices. And they use the same mechanism that we use here. They use monetary policy system. They use the cash flow system. But they also go deep to have authority on companies, on individuals who produce and sell products and across the country. But here in Nigeria, our government doesn't want to go into that. That's why the president will always be talking about the political economy of Nigeria driven by market forces. And that market forces, dangerously, is one of the greatest challenges that we have that's affecting purchasing power of Nigerians across all boards.
All right. To the listener on the other side of the radio, if you're just joining us, welcome on board. We're looking at declining inflation in Nigeria vis-a-vis other issues affecting the nation's economy. You can be part of the conversation by calling 09073530044 or 09087668888. Send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp number. The WhatsApp number is 0909705 44 and 50. How has the declining inflation rate in Nigeria impacted your life? Would you say it has impacted your life positively or negatively? All right, I'm actually speaking with an economist right now. So if you need, clarification on any issue concerning the nation's economy, this would be your best bet to call in, to ask those questions, and you definitely would get answers. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, my sister. God bless you.
And Onoja, it's good to hear from you today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The handler of the program. The gift of producing your course. Maybe it's only one course. You see. As you come about today, that's why I love women. You see, if you go to court, let me tell you one thing. If you go to any court headed by a woman as a judge, you'll be happy because you follow the right.
Is that so?
God will continue blessing women.
All right.
Many people will call today.
Thank
and
you.
we appreciate you.
All right, let's hear from you, Elder.
Any place where women come, there must be a change there. God will bless you.
Amen. Thank you.
And bless all my daughters.
Amen.
You see, inflation rate in Nigeria. People are talking that inflation rate has gone down. It gone down because rain falls in time in Nigeria. You see, rain falls in time and then people go back to find the time. That's why you see some food price came down in Nigeria, not government. The bag of fertilizer is 50,000 naira up to now. So anything concerning the fertilizer farm, those things will not come down. The price of Gari came down because last year Gari was so high. The price so high, so many people farm a cassava.
Okay.
And then during harvest, if they don't harvest, it will fall. That's why they make Gari came down. And then rice, the same thing, because upper rice, they farm it during the first rain. And then when they farm it during the first rain, if you do, it must affect it. That's why you see the local rice, the price of local rice come down. People don't understand, they say inflation don't come down, inflation don't come down. Go to market and price yam. If one tumba of yam, they will tell you say 3,000 naira up to now. All the other prices don't come down. They are ringing that the price come down. You see what you can get cheap in the market is potato, local rice, and then this Gari. And then because rain fall last year it was so cold, people go to farm and farm it. Rain fall in time and then they came out. There's no inflation coming down in Nigeria here.
All right.
Go to market, every price you see go high. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Onoja. Thank you. All right. It's really, really heartwarming to hear from you today. And I hope that, this tempo will be sustained. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Eagle FM. How are you doing, ma'am?
Very well, thank you. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Martins. I'm calling from Abuja here.
All right. Good to have you, Martins. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to make a little contribution.
All right.
There is something I would like our guest to give more detail about.
Okay.
The issue of this paperwork of inflation has dropped. We see it as a figure, but in reality, it's not something we can write home about when we go to market. Now, I want our guest there to say something regarding the economic team of our government.
Okay.
Because I know they are experts selected that view things about the economy of the nation. A government will come, government will leave, and the situation still remains difficult to understand about our economy. Is it in terms of petroleum? Now that even the president is the minister of petroleum, I think, and they will come to tell us that things are working well. At the end, we don't see any difference. Like the person who just called before I do now, he explained the reason why the rice and the cassava, Gari has come down, and that is the fact. So the figure they are just dishing out about inflation is like, okay, look at Naira to dollar. What do they say? What do they have to say about that? Pounds and euro. Please let our guest tell us something about that. If there is a common adage that when rain is falling, you don't have to tell the blind man that rain is falling. So if the economy is doing well, everybody will definitely feel it. You don't have to just be dishing out a figure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Martins, for your contribution this morning. Mr. Defalarin, are you taking note of the contributions?
Yes, very well.
Okay.
Very well.
09073530044 or 09087668888 are still the numbers to call this morning to be part of the conversation. We're looking at declining inflation and the state of Nigeria's economy. You can also send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 090970544 and 50. Before I revert to my guest, let's quickly take a listen to this voice message that we have on the WhatsApp portal. Good morning to you.
Omoife, good morning. I say well done job. My name is Triple D, sending this voice message from Waru. Well, I want to ask a question because some of this our Nigerians economics and other analysts, I don't know whether it's because I did not go to school much like that, but I'm always getting confused when they talk about this inflation. Omoife,
right?
How can we be talking of inflation when you fully know that fuel is still buying at the cost of 1,000 naira? What are we talking about inflation when the minimum wage is 70,000 naira? What are we talking about? What are we talking about inflation when you fully know that you are still borrowing? What are we talking about inflation when you fully know that there is a lot of insecurity going on? I don't know. Can a country that is passing through all these ups and downs and then claiming that the inflation is this and that? I want to get clarification. Oh. May God help us. We'll get it right. Have a nice day, man.
Thank you very much, Triple D from Waru. Mr. Defalarin, the ball is now in your court. Let's get your reaction to these questions that have been thrown at you this morning.
I think, let me start with the last person with the voice note. I think one of the best way for us to understand economy is to detach emotional sentiment. If you want to really understand economy policies, you want to really understand how the economy is working, if you want to really understand how inflation is working, remove emotional attachment from understanding or how you want to understand it. Because once you attach emotion to it, you will not understand it. Economy, in terms of understanding inflation, like the last voice call or voice post said, you want to understand what is happening to inflation, we are still borrowing money. All these are economic policies, economic processes that other countries practice across the world. Countries borrow, countries know their inflation rate, countries know their monetary policy rate, countries know their exchange rate. But in case of Nigeria, there has been a bad policy of economy in the past. And some of those bad policies is still being instigated because we are yet to grasp on how to ensure that economic policy work for ordinary people. And that's why the communication of those economic policy to become a challenge. And that's why I have to acknowledge that many Nigerians now introduce emotion to understanding government economic policy. There is nothing wrong in borrowing. There is nothing wrong in understanding your economy and your inflation of the country. There is nothing wrong with having a higher minimum wage. There is nothing wrong with having a currency exchange with other countries. But the problem is that our economic managers have not been able to tailor those policies to the understanding and implementation of our people. And that's why many people are a little bit angry with it. Then to the two callers that called earlier, I'm so happy that those two callers, none of them mentioned that people cannot go to farm again to go and farm cassava, and that's why the price of Gary is falling. Nobody is talking about insecurity again. Nobody is mentioning insecurity as one of the problems whereby food price is going up. You can understand when I said earlier that if you go to the market, if you go to the same market now, the price mechanism that people have been enjoying in 2023, that high price mechanism, many traders doesn't want to come down from that high of high price mechanism. But the same people initially, they are the ones giving us excuse, and Naira is now 1,700. If you recall, Naira to dollar in 2003 was 1,800. Pounds was 2,500. But it has come down to 1,450 for dollar and 1,910 Naira to pound sterling. But guess what? Those traders who are importing all those materials into the country, why didn't they work around their price mechanism to reflect the current exchange rate? Nobody is doing that. Just just the way people are seeing government not being transparent, not being sincere in the economic policy, that is how many Nigerian businessmen are not also very sincere in their business transaction with ordinary Nigerians. That's why if you see a trader that go to the market to go and buy a bag of garri at 25,000 naira or 30,000 and comes back home, the same mudu price that he has been selling in the last 6 months, that's the same price mudu you want to sell. Imagine last week in Massacre Market alone, because I took a sample price of maize in the Massacre Market last week Friday, fell as low as 700 naira per mudu. But here we are. Nobody wants to reflect that price when they get back home, when they want to return those products to Nigeria. But on the other hand, we put the blame on the government. Because as one caller said, the economic team of the government, because he knows that government come, government go. When government come into it, like the current government, they have appointed economic team. By the time they leave, maybe in 2027 or maybe in 2021, they are able to win election. The bureaucracy that they leave there, I'm not talking about the civil servants are in place that government exist any government that comes to, but what can they do? All these policies are there, but the implementation becomes a challenge to Nigeria. So for me, first and foremost, for everyone who wants to understand the Nigerian economy or global economy, detach emotional sentiment. Try to understand it the way it works. We are in a global capitalist economy, whereby it is market forces that determine the price of everything, including inflation. Even in US, as we speak right now, US does down on their interest because the inflation is already going to 7%. From 4% that it was about 3 months ago, it's already rising. But they have to work on it. And why is it like that? Because it's also a capitalist environment. But in our own case also, we're also a capitalist environment whereby it is the market forces that determine how you sell your product, how you have your market price mechanism going forward. And government have little power to control price mechanism in Nigeria. So for people who are also talking about minimum wage, like the other voice in the caller, see, the problem about minimum wage is because government doesn't want to bring by when there is too much money in circulation, then to become a challenge to the economy. Nobody says everybody cannot be paid 1 million naira as a salary. But when you finish paying somebody 1 million naira as a salary, and that person cannot be able to use that money to buy what he wants to buy, everybody is not struggling to buy one thing. Nobody.
Okay.
We must understand it based on the technicality, on the approach or methodology of how economy works. Because if we don't get it right today, definitely we cannot get it. China that we are seeing today, they are doing everything possible to ensure the economy works for them. It is because they have been able to tailor the economy mechanism to suit their ordinary people, and that's nobody currently not minimum wage in China, even though they have one of the cheapest labor across the world.
Okay. Mr. Adefolarin, I mean, you've been able to highlight a number of things that I would need you to clarify, even further, but we need to go pay some bills now. When we come back, the conversation will continue. And to those that are calling, please be patient with us. We just need to pay some bills, and the conversation will continue afterwards. Just stay with us.
If you any motor where you dey drive, you need confirm protection, no, for your engine, no. Make it mobile, oh, make it mobile. Anywhere you dey, your motor deserve to be number one, yo. Make it mobile, oh, make it mobile. You carry the go, make everybody join me, say, make it mobile.
Make you go with the best.
Make it mobile.
Powell Homes and Shelters Limited, a real estate company. We be Baba for properties. Our properties national best.
Please listen to this important infomercial. It's Powell's time on radio. Abuja. Powell Homes and Shelters Limited has come with a vision of transforming housing through innovation, style and integrity. At Powell Homes and Shelters Limited, we deliver affordable luxury, comfort and reliability in real estate. We offer genuine lands, elegant homes, modern designs and flexible payment plans to make your dream home a reality. Visit us today and experience excellence you can trust. Our address is number 52, Suez Crescent, Abacha Estate, Wuse Zone 4, Abuja. You can call us us on telephone number 081 510 20000 or 080 925 70000. The number to call us once again is 081 510 20000 or 080 926 70000. Now let's hear what your sister and veteran Nollywood actress Patience Ozoko Mama G has to say about this company.
My people, my name is Patience Ozoko, popularly known as Mama G. G for General. Do you want to buy genuine lands and other properties and need a brand you can trust? Think Powell Home and Shelters Limited. With a reputation built on honesty and reliability, we ensure your investment is secured. Our team of experts is dedicated to providing personalized service tailored to your needs. Join countless of satisfied customers who have found their dream properties with us. For inquiries, please call 0815 102 0000 or 0809 257 0000. We can get you property from any part of Nigeria. Think real estate, think Powell.
Thank you, Mama G, for that wonderful talk. Remember, our office is at number 52, Swiss Crescent, Abacha Estate, Wuse, Zone 4, Abuja. We also have branches in Enugu, Owerri, Oka, and Asaba, and Nairobi. Think real estate, think Powell.
Powell Homes and Shelters Limited, a real estate company. We be Baba for properties. Our properties national best. Invest your money, create a better future. A real estate company. We be Baba for properties. Real estate. Our properties national best. Powell Homes and Shelters Limited, a real estate company. We be Baba for property. Our priority is to satisfy our client to the best.
Things they happen for our community, eh?
Now I can recoup back all the money I have spent on this annoying family.
Hey, yeah, that woman own don't finish.
My dear, let's go and greet them, okay?
Hey! Join Media Coalition and Awareness to hold trafficking, MICAT, on I Wish I Knew radio drama and program every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Join us to kick human trafficking out of our society. I Wish I Knew radio drama and program is brought to you by MICAT and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
I suppose it was inevitable.
Eagles 102.3.
All right, we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Eagles Outlook, live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja, and we are looking at the declining inflation rate and the state of Nigeria's economy. I still have my guest, who is an economic expert, via the telephone, Adefolari Olamilekon. Thank you so much for staying on the line.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's squeeze in this call before we proceed with the
Hello,
conversation.
Elder Noja again.
All right, welcome back, Elder.
My sister, point of order, please.
Okay.
I went to you if you can come and handle this program for 2 times.
Okay.
Because most of our friends, they have run away from Igbo FM. So if you handle this opportunity now, giving you opportunity now, you see all of our friends, they will turn to Igbo FM. Igbo FM is a busy radio before.
All right.
7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I beg, if you can come and this in later our friend. Okay. I went to ask our speaker there. 3 people, they enter motor, and then one be driver. Another driver, he does the motor, enter portal, he drive with very dangerous corner. And then he blocks those motor. And then the other one complains, say, give me that motor, give me the motor, I know how to drive it better. And then he take it, he drive worse than the other one. And then the third one come and say, come, don't go and kill us. he must give me this motor. This is my time to drive the motor. And then they surrendered the motor to him. And then he started driving it once. What are you going to do? I asked question, let him reply. Okay. And then my second question, I want to know whether this government has a short economic plan and then long distance plan economic.
Okay.
Because I'm not educated person, but what I read little about of economics. There's a short distance and then there's a long distance. Whether the government has a short distance economic or long distance economic. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Elder Naja. Adefolarin, I think he's talking about long-term, economic plan or short-term economic plan.
Exactly. And on that aspect, let me quickly respond. We have a short to medium term economic plan between 3 to 6 months. Then we have a medium-term plan that could take between 6 months to 1 year. Then we have long-term plan that could take between 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. It is all there in Nigerian economic plan. They all have it. It's very sad that if some of us are economists trying as much as possible to explain some of these details based on the government plan. Some people will feel that, okay, we are trying to defend the government. For instance, the law of subsidy was for a long-term purpose. I don't know whether you get it.
Yes, please.
And it happens. When subsidy was removed, how much was at a point? 1,004, 1,005. Well, how much is it today? You can get it at 1,001, 1,002, depending on your location. And that location has been calculated and factored into the price. But these are long-term projected plans. Then also take a look at the issue of food importation that the government approved earlier later to this year. It was a short-term month. Policy. That's another one. You can also see the policy when it comes to a medium-term policy of the government in the area of budgeting. Budgeting is not for a very long period. It's highest 9 months or 10 months of the year. Those are the policy. But when economists try to explain some of these details to our people, it will look like, you are defending the government and that's why you're talking like this. But we have to tell ourselves the truth. As I earlier pointed out, most of these economic policies that you see that we practice here, it is being practiced in U.S. The only difference is that when it is being put to implementation, we find a lot of challenges, especially political politicization of those policies. Nobody will say here today that the subsidy removal is not a good policy. But because it was never communicated in a way that Nigerians can understand. And again, because of the challenge of our 4 refineries, our 4 refineries were working and government implemented the subsidy removal, it has been a well-communicated, detailed policy that Nigerians will understand. But because the refineries are not working, everyone now say that if you want to do this kind of thing, allow the 4 refineries to work. But let's say U.S. have a similar problem the way we have problem. Do you think that the government in U.S. will just go and implement subsidy removal without preparing refineries to be available? But guess what? We also tried on our own part. Licenses was given to people to go and build refineries. Since 1999, they never built. They were just using those licenses to be collecting and be importing for it. And that's become one of the biggest challenges in Nigeria. Then for the question that Onoja was asking about 3 people driving cars, the first thing we need to ask people that are driving cars, what are the psychological state of people that are driving cars in Nigeria? Or what are the psychological state of those people that want to drive anybody in a car? Somebody drove the first car, he entered a ditch. The second one drove the car, he almost caused an accident. Then the last person who drove the car almost put the car into a lagoon or wherever. But we must understand whoever is in the policy environment of government, what is their interest? Because drivers of Nigerian economic policy, all of them have interest. All the economic teams that you see, they have interest, they have friends, they have people who work everywhere who want them, whatever policy they want to bring will suit them. And that's where that challenges. But we need to encourage ourselves that at this point in time, economic policy that are being developed by government, those policies are not bad in themselves. But when it comes to implementation and when it comes to the interest that policy will serve, that's why we have issues.
All right.
I don't know whether many of our listeners are getting it. Policy in itself, economic policy in itself are not bad. But when it comes to implementation, once a policy doesn't suit a particular interest group, it becomes a challenge. I will give you a typical example. There's one policy that the government wants to implement through the tax reform. They call it capital gain tax. I know you must have heard about it.
Right.
Now, that capital gain tax is for people who are working or doing business on the stock market. That if you make above 100 million at the end of the year, after your transaction on Nigerian stock market, you pay a 30% or 25% to the government. And you can make as much as more than 100 million. But guess what? people in that sector are now angry that why would government implement such policy at this point in time, because it was 10% before.
No, but 30% is a lot, Adefolarin.
Ma?
30% is a lot, don't you think?
No, it's because you are the one seeing it as a loss. The people who are doing that business, let's break it down so that you can understand.
Okay.
Not that I'm supporting the government to implement that policy, but let us understand when it comes to economic policy, the moment it doesn't suit for interest, the moment it affects your gain somehow, you want to fight against it.
Okay,
let me give another typical example. When the government said they are going to be implementing tax policy for 2026, that's with any businesses in Nigeria that make at least 100 million in a year will pay tax of 25%. Guess what? They now interpreted that tax that even if you are a small business owner, you'll be paying tax. Meanwhile, that doesn't affect small business owner.
Okay.
So
all right.
Guess what? I'm not trying to paint a picture of how government policy can suit. Once a government policy doesn't suit your interest, you will kick against it. You see it as a bad policy. But the moment that government policy suits your interest, and you start to help, this is a good policy, and we love it, let it be implemented. But the moment it doesn't suit your interest, it doesn't suit your interest. We must understand that government economic policy in itself is good, but the moment it goes against any group interest, it becomes a bad policy. And that's what we are experiencing in Nigeria and across the world.
Let's take a listen to this voice message. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right.
It seems that your guest is just being sentimental. He's just analyzing based on the guy is just a politician. All the is just based on politics. For me, I don't really know what he's saying. He's just a supporter of the government, nothing more. Thank you.
Okay, Adefolarin, I mean, a family member actually thinks that your analysis this morning, they're quite, biased and filled with sentiment. But let's take this message from Triple D. He says, how can we understand what is not clear for majority of Nigerians? Everyone must not be an economist to understand what an inflation is. But Nigeria should feel what some of the experts or only few of you understand. To me, we are using big grammar to confuse Nigerians about the reality on ground. I'm not issue of sentiment or emotions. Nigeria will get it right one day. That's what Triple D from Waro is saying. Adefolarin, time is not our friend. Really, I really wish that we can stretch this conversation, a little further, because I mean there are other questions that I actually, would have loved to ask you to make it very, very clear. In 1 minute, if you can, please. Are we linking this reported decline in inflation to stable naira, exchange, rising non-oil exports, or increased domestic production?
I think there are different perspectives in those aspects of the economy. Although they can be linked or interwoven at the end of the day. But we must be able to separate this because, as most of our viewers and listeners have said, that it's sounding confusing. That's how economics is. Once you become so technical, you'll be finding it difficult. And that's why sometimes government doesn't come straight with their word because there is no technicality. But what I've asked, is it linked, is downfall of inflation or decline inflation, is it linked to the oil production? That is not part of it. The only thing that we can link to the inflation coming down is the monetary policy of the CBN because they are controlling cash flow in the Nigerian economy. The money that is flowing into the Nigerian economy, they are controlling it, and because of that, that will help inflation. But air production, none of it. Any other thing that you mentioned, none of it. That doesn't have any issue to make with it. But cash flow, as controlled by the Central Bank of Nigeria, is helping to reduce inflation in Nigeria as we speak.
Okay, still talking about the monetary, policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Manufacturers are withdrawing from bank loans as a result of high interest rates. What does that portend for us as a nation and, Nigerians, especially, as we approach the Yuletide season? In 30 seconds, please.
It's so sad that manufacturers are moving away from collecting bank loans. It means those loans interest is very, very high for them, and that's why they are moving on. But we must not conclude that way because they are not collecting the loan. There are other factors that may have contributed why they may not be collecting those loans. Those manufacturers could also have changed their business style.
Okay.
They may also be because as you speak right now in Nigeria, importation is one of the sweetest businesses that you can do in Nigeria. You can have your factory site and be importing and turn that factory site to warehouse and be selling those products. And those are the things that most manufacturers are now engaged because we have deficiency in our power sector. We have bad roads and the rest of them, which the government have not really tackled as a sector. So if manufacturers are moving away from collecting loans, it is because, one, the interest rate is high. Although we are expecting CBN on Monday next week to speak on the interest rate, so that maybe manufacturers can go back and be collecting loans.
All right.
Majority of the manufacturers, majority of them are now into importation, which is more sweet, more profitable to do in Nigeria.
Okay. Adefalarin Olamilekan, it's always a pleasure discussing Nigeria's economy with you. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much. And I also want to tell all our listeners, if you want to listen to economic policy, you want to understand economic policy, detach emotion. There is no bias in what we have said so far. It's just a straight fact. It's just that we fail to understand how the dynamics of the economy work.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for that submission, and to each and every contributor on the show this morning, those who didn't call, but you took your time to just monitor the conversation. Thank you sincerely for spending part of your time with us. It's a wrap on the Eagles Outlook, a program for this week. It would make a return, same time, same station next week. My name is Omoife Peace Osemere. Good morning.
Eagles 102.3.